I'm 83 years old, been black in America all those years, and I gave 42 years of my life to a company that wouldn't even let me use the front bathroom when I started. Let me tell you something about loyalty that nobody in our community wants to hear. Sometimes the very thing Mama taught us would keep us safe is the thing that destroys us. My name is Andrew Tanner. I just buried my wife 3 months ago, Dorothy. We were together 58 years. At her funeral, my daughter, my baby girl who's 50 now, she looked at me across that casket and said, "Daddy, at least you have your pension." And something in me just broke. Because that pension, that job, that loyalty I thought was noble, it cost me everything that mattered. Here's what nobody told me. The company that made you prove your worth every single day for 4 decades doesn't love you back. It never did. It never will. I was 23 years old in 1964 when I started at Brennan Manufacturing. The Civil Rights Act had just passed. Things were supposed to be changing. I was one of the first 3 black men they hired for the production floor, not because they wanted us, but because they had to. Federal contracts required it. My daddy pulled me aside the night before I started. We were sitting on the back porch of our place in North Memphis. He'd come up from Mississippi during the war, worked every job you could name, never complained. He looked at me and said, "Son, you're going to have to work twice as hard to get half as much. Keep your head down. Don't give them no reason." You hear me? I heard him. So I showed up early, stayed late, took every shift they offered. When the white guys on my line were 10 minutes late, nobody said nothing. When I was 2 minutes late once because Dorothy was having our son and there were complications, I got written up. I apologized, kept my head down, proved I was reliable. You see what I was doing? I thought if I was loyal enough, perfect enough, quiet enough, they'd see my worth. They'd treat me right. They'd value what I brought. I was wrong about everything. Let me take you back to 1972. I was 31. I'd been there 8 years. They posted a supervisor position, my line, my shift. I knew that floor better than anybody. Trained half the white boys who worked there. The foreman, Mr. Patterson, he told me more than once I was a good worker. I thought that meant something. I applied. They gave it to Danny Kowalski. Nice enough kid. 22 years old. Been there 11 months. His daddy golfed with the plant manager. I remember standing in the break room when they announced it. The way Danny looked at me, not mean, just, sorry. Like he knew. The other guys got quiet. One of them, Tommy, he clapped me on the shoulder and said, "Your time will come, Rob." I believed him. I stayed loyal. Kept my head down. Worked harder. When I was 35, they passed me over again. And again at 39. And 43. And 47. By the time I was 52, in 1993, I'd trained 4 different supervisors. White boys young enough to be my sons calling me Rob, while I called them sir. My own son, Andrew Jr., he graduated from Howard University, was working in D.C. for a black-owned firm. He came home for Christmas that year, saw me getting ready for 3rd shift on Christmas night, and said, "Dad, why are you still there?" I told him what my daddy told me, about keeping your head down, about loyalty, about how you can't just quit, not when you're black, not when you got a family, not when you got bills, about how they'd given me steady work for almost 30 years, and that meant something. He looked at me like I'd lost my mind. "They're using you, Dad."
I got angry. Told him he didn't understand. Told him about the real world, about how things were different for his generation, but mine had to be grateful for what we got. Told him I was providing for this family, giving him opportunities one never had, and he should respect that. We didn't talk for 6 months after that fight.
Here's the part that haunts me. I wasn't just staying for the paycheck. I was staying because I'd bought into something. This idea that if I was loyal enough, dependable enough, perfect enough, I'd prove something. Not just to them, to myself. To my daddy's memory. To every black man who'd been told he wasn't good enough. I was trying to earn respect from people who'd decided before I ever walked through that door that I wasn't worthy of it. In 1998, I was 57 years old. They brought in consultants. Restructuring, they called it. They offered early retirement packages to workers over 55. I could have taken it. Dorothy wanted me to. She'd been saying for years we could make it work, that I'd done enough, that it was time to rest. But I didn't trust it. What if they didn't really want me to take it? What if taking it meant I was giving up, proving I couldn't hack it? What if they were testing to see who the real loyal workers were? So I stayed, worked 8 more years. And you know what happened? In 2006, at 65, they forced me out anyway. Mandatory retirement age. 23 other guys retired that year. They threw us a lunch in the cafeteria. Sheet cake and a handshake. The plant manager, different one by then, younger guy, couldn't have been 40. He gave this speech about our years of service without looking at any of us directly. I got a plaque, bronze-colored plastic with my name misspelled. Andrew J. Mitchell. No second L. 42 years, and they couldn't spell my name right. But here's the real cost, and I need you to understand this. It wasn't just the promotions I didn't get. It wasn't just the money I didn't make. It wasn't even the dignity they didn't give me. It was everything I missed while I was being loyal to people who never valued me.
I missed Andrew Jr.'s college graduation because I couldn't get the time off and we needed the overtime pay. I missed my daughter Patricia's dance recitals, all of them, because I was working second shift. When Dorothy's mama got sick in 1985, Dorothy handled it alone because I couldn't miss work.
When my own mama died in 1989, I took 2 days off for the funeral and came right back because I didn't want them to think I was unreliable. I missed dinners. I missed bedtimes. I missed Little League games and school plays and Sunday drives and lazy Saturday mornings. I missed conversations with my wife. I missed watching my kids grow up. I missed my life. And for what? For a company that laid me off the moment it was convenient. For a pension that barely covers the bills. For people who forgot my name the day I walked out that door. Dorothy understood before I did. She never said, "I told you so," but I could see it in her eyes those last few years. This sadness. This resignation. She'd wanted to travel when we retired. See California. Visit our kids more. Take a cruise. We had time, finally, to do all the things we'd put off. But I was so tired. 42 years of overnight shifts and mandatory overtime, and keeping my head down, it had worn me out. My knees hurt. My back hurt. Getting up from a chair took effort. And more than that, I was empty. I didn't know who I was without that job defining me. We never made it to California. We never took that cruise. Dorothy got her cancer diagnosis in 2019. Stage 4 in her lungs. The doctor said if we'd caught it earlier, but we'd been putting off checkups. Insurance was expensive after I retired, and we were trying to save money, and anyway, she seemed fine. She wasn't fine. I had 2 years with her after that diagnosis. 2 years where I finally had the time I'd always said I was working for. But by then, time was running out. I sat by her bed in hospice, holding her hand, and she looked at me, this woman who'd waited for me for 42 years, who'd raised our kids mostly alone, who'd built a life around my absence, and she said, "Andrew, I wish we'd had more time. Not more money, more time." I broke down. Right there. Told her I was sorry. Sorry for all of it. Sorry for choosing that place over her. Sorry for believing that loyalty to a job mattered more than loyalty to the people who actually loved me. She squeezed my hand. She said, "I know, baby. I know." She died 3 days later. I'm 83 now, and I wake up every morning in a house that's too quiet. My kids call once a week, dutiful but distant. We never built the kind of closeness that comes from time spent together. They had Mama. They had each other. But they didn't really have me. Not when it mattered. I've got my pension. It pays the bills. It keeps the lights on. And I've got my regrets. Lord knows I've got those. Now listen to me, especially if you're young and black and you've been taught what I was taught about keeping your head down and being grateful and being loyal. That loyalty has to go both ways. And if it doesn't, you're not being noble. You're being used. I know what you're thinking. But Mr. Tanner, I need this job. I've got bills. I've got a family. I can't just walk away. And you're right, you can't always just quit. I'm not saying that. But there's a difference between working a job and sacrificing your soul for people who don't value you. Here's what I wish somebody had told me at 23. Your employer is not your family. Your employer is not your identity. Your employer will replace you the moment it's convenient, and they will not lose a single night's sleep over it. That's not about race. Though being black means we learned early to accept less and be grateful for it. That's just the nature of the transaction. You give them your labor. They give you money. That's it. That's the whole deal.
Everything else, the loyalty, the going above and beyond, the proving yourself, the sacrifice, that's extra. And it should be reciprocal. If they're not promoting you, if they're not paying you fairly, if they're not respecting your time, if they're not valuing your contribution, then your loyalty is misplaced.
My daddy was wrong. Not about having to work twice as hard. That part was true, and it's still true today. But he was wrong about keeping your head down being enough. It's not enough. It was never enough. And staying loyal to people who won't fight for you isn't strength. It's surrender. Here's what you need to do differently than I did. Set boundaries. When they ask you to work late, sometimes the answer is no. When they pass you over for a promotion, you update your resume. When they disrespect your time, your family, your life, you remember that this is a transaction, not a calling. Know your worth and demand that others recognize it too. That doesn't mean being angry or difficult. It means being clear. It means negotiating. It means walking away when you need to. It means not accepting less than you deserve just because you're grateful to have anything at all. Invest in your people, not your employer. Come home for dinner. Show up to the recitals. Take the vacation days. Be there for your kids' games and your spouse's hard days and your parents' declining years. Because here's what I learned too late. They'll remember who showed up. And your employer won't be on that list. If you're not being valued where you are, start looking for where you will be. I spent 42 years waiting for Brennan Manufacturing to see my worth. If I'd spent even 5 of those years building skills, networking, looking for better opportunities that existed, especially after the 70s, my whole life would be different. Don't let fear keep you trapped. The fear of not finding something better. The fear of letting people down. The fear of proving the racists right. That fear will eat your life while you're not looking. I know. It ate mine. And here's the hardest one. Don't let your parents' survival strategies become your prison. My daddy did the best he knew how. He taught me what kept him alive in Jim Crow, Mississippi. But his strategies were meant for a war zone, not a life. We're not just trying to survive anymore. We're trying to live. There's a difference. You think you have time. You don't. You think they'll recognize your worth eventually. They won't. You think sacrifice now means happiness later. It doesn't. I'm 83 years old. I've got maybe 5 years left if I'm lucky, maybe 10 if I'm real lucky. I've got a comfortable chair and a quiet house and a pension that pays the bills. I've got grandkids I barely know because I wasn't around to know their parents. I've got memories of a woman I loved who deserved better than what I gave her. And I've got a bronze-colored plastic plaque with my name spelled wrong. That's what 42 years of misplaced loyalty bought me. Don't let it buy you the same thing. The choice is yours. But make it now. Because Dorothy was right. It's not about the money. It's not about the pension. It's not about proving anything to anyone. It's about time. And once it's gone, you can't get it back. I'd give every penny of that pension, every year of that career, every moment of that steady employment for one more Saturday morning with Dorothy. One more Little League game with Andrew Jr., one more dance recital with Patricia. One more family dinner where I was actually present, not just physically there, but mentally back at that plant, worried about the next shift. But I can't. That time is gone. That life is gone. She's gone. So I'm telling you what I wish someone had told me. The people who love you are your life. Everything else is just how you pay for it. And if the job takes more than it gives, if it takes your time, your health, your family, your peace, then it doesn't matter how steady it is. It doesn't matter how loyal you've been. It's not worth it. Share this with every young person you know who's grinding themselves to dust for people who'd replace them tomorrow. Share it with anyone who's been taught that suffering in silence is strength. Share it with your kids, your church family, your coworkers, your friends. Leave a comment and tell me, what are you being loyal to that isn't loyal to you? What are you going to do about it? Subscribe for more truth from someone who learned it too late. Maybe you won't have to. My name is Andrew Tanner. I'm 83 years old. I wasted 42 years proving my worth to people who never valued it. And I'm telling you, begging you, don't make my mistake. Your life is happening right now, while you're at that job, while you're being loyal, while you're waiting for them to see you. Live it, before it's gone. God bless you. And may you have the courage I didn't have, the wisdom I learned too late, and the time with the people you love that I can never get back.